Hey everybody, how you doing? I normally don't weigh in on college football matters if it doesn't has to do with Cal or Stanford. And generally it's Cal versus Stanford. But there was a time when I talked more about college football given what was on TV, the big rivalry game, that sort of thing, right? So I'm going back to that. But given the fact that I'm here in Fayette County, Georgia, and Georgia Tech just played, and I never watched the rivalry game before. It was never on my schedule of things to do, and I just saw it. I have some observations I want to share. It has to do with the idea that I believe Georgia Tech could have beaten Georgia, but it seemed like their mentality was we're going to play well enough to scare you, but we're not going to win. However, playing well enough to scare them was pretty doggone good. I mean, I'm looking at the statistics here. Listen to this. Get this. Total yards. Georgia, 352 yards. Georgia Tech, 283 yards, all right? So in other words, Georgia was not even 100 yards better in terms of total than Georgia Tech. Passing yards. Georgia, 164. Georgia Tech, 144. And I saw the kind of passes that Georgia Tech had designed. They can do a lot better in the way they've set up their passing game. A lot better. Rushing yards. Georgia, 188. Georgia Tech, 139. Again, not far behind. Now here is the difference. Yards per play. 7.8 for Georgia, 5.1 for Georgia Tech. But think about it. Georgia Tech can at least count on 5 yards every time it touches the ball, which means what? Which means it has the ability to control the ball against Georgia. The right plays. When I turned on the television set, or rather turned to that broadcast of the contest, I saw Georgia Tech pick up a first down off of a nifty pass play out of a 5 wide receiver set. Then, hey, maybe I ought to pay attention to this. And then they got away from it, went to more conventional forms of running. But then this stupid thing they like to do where they run up the middle, people call it zone blocking. I call it mosh pit blocking. Mosh pit blocking. Mosh pit blocking is logical to do if you can, if it has, what's the term? Out physical your opponent, right? But if you're not Georgia and you're Georgia Tech, then mosh pit blocking really shouldn't be your thing. Now, maybe it works with other opponents, but my point is this. Why not gear your approach to beat your cross-state rival? Why not? Why not have it as bragging rights? We beat the #1 team in the country, which just so happens to be in our state, right? Doesn't that make sense to you? Because it seems to me that a lot of Georgia Tech players could play for Georgia and if not start, then at least be second string. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. But it goes further in terms of the how close this contest was from a statistical standpoint. First downs, Georgia had 19, Georgia Tech had 18. 18, okay? Third down efficiency, 3 of 5 for Georgia, 3 of 11 for Georgia Tech. Some of the plays they were calling Georgia Tech on third down were just kind of like butt-ass stupid. I'll just say it just like that. Like, why are you calling a run that you would normally execute, a read option, on third down when it's 3rd and 10, okay? As opposed to first down, but Georgia Tech did that kind of thing. It's like, what is going on here, man? Total plays. Georgia Tech rattled off 55 of them. Georgia 45. Seems to me that, hey, with a little bit more judicious use of no huddle, Georgia Tech could have tacked on 10 more plays and made the game even more interesting. Georgia Tech punted twice. Georgia punted once. Penalties, 4 for Georgia for 45 yards. 3 for Georgia Tech, lost a measly 15 yards. Fumbles lost, Georgia Tech didn't lose any. All right? Interceptions, none. Time of possession. Georgia Tech held on to the ball longer. 26 minutes and 7 seconds versus 21 minutes and 40 seconds for Georgia. All right? But with all that, you would think the score in the contest should be, closer than 31-16. But that's what we've got. We have 31-16. We have Georgia Bulldogs scoring 7, 14, 10, and then 0 in the fourth quarter. Georgia Tech started off a house of fire. They were ahead of Georgia first quarter, scored 10-7. Then the second quarter, they let the Bulldogs bust loose because the Bulldogs decided they were going to straight up hoss them on the run. In other words, go straight zone, blocking on the run, use that famous set of plays where they use the jump cuts with their runners, and take advantage of the fact that Georgia Tech was using one of these weak defenses that did not commit itself to stopping the middle run gap. It was one of these every place defenses. Well, I'll put the defensive end way out here. I'll put the other one way out there. And I'll leave all these bubble areas, right? Which is perfect for a super athletic staffed team like the Georgia Bulldogs to take advantage of. And that's exactly what they did. But again, it wasn't so bad that with a change in scheme, Georgia Tech could not have been more effective. That's what I see. So anyway, I just wanted to share my observations. You can get after me, say, hey, I'm not a Southerner, I'm not a whatever. I'm a card-carrying member of the University of California at Berkeley. I was on the alumni board, that's right, for, 1998 to 2003, and the Awards Commission 2004. All right, see ya. Subscribe to Zennie62. All right.